What is up, duelists? Arts and Crofts here, bringing you your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! GOAT format action. Today's feature match, you've got Abdel Karim versus Frost Pro. As always, both players rated in the top 200 of the Dueling Book GOAT format ladder at the time this match was played. Let's hop into it. Looks like Abdel Karim won that RPS, is going to be going first. And they are going to lead out with a Pot of Greed, so already going up a card, opening some Trinity, very solid for them. And then they're going to set 3 back row pass, so no monster here, but maybe has like a scapegoat or something. But is up a card, so not too bad. See if Frost Pro can claw their way back in. Ooh, we're going to get Standby Phase Ojama Trio out of Abdel Karim, so likely a burn strategy here. Pretty much the only deck that runs Ojama Trio are burn variants. Going for the Standby Phase version is pretty interesting, considering that now Frost Pro kind of knows about it, right? Generally, what you'll see is, at least before your opponent knows you're on burn, you kind of want to hold the trio for when they have 2 monsters on board, or until you're ready to like Justice Search them or something. Because then, like, if they have like a Gravekeeper Spy and they flip it up, which is a solid play against basically any other deck in the format, then that instantly Goat locks or Ojama locks them. But now Frost Pro knows that they're playing against a burn deck, so they can kind of play accordingly now. So I'm not sure if it was necessary to go trio this early, but maybe there's a reason why you want to get all those tokens on your opponent's side of the board right this instant. Frost Pro, though, still has 2 active monster zones. We'll see how they choose to utilize them. They're going to lead out with a Reasoning Gate here. Okay. So Ojama Trio kind of not being great against Reasoning Gate decks, I feel like, because... well, they can be... yeah, they can't be attributed for a tribute summon, but they can be attributed for a monster gate, which is pretty bad for the player playing against Reasoning Gate. As burn, I feel like you're really worried about Jinzo, right? Because you just have so many traps, and unlike something like a Royal Decree, you don't just have Trunade to bounce it like you would. So maybe you just call 6 here and hope they don't find a Jinzo. I'm going to call 4, though. I don't really like calling 4 when they already have monsters on the board, because, like, it doesn't actually do much. Like, I know 4 is probably the most likely number to hit, because decks generally will run multiple copies of Sacred Crane, even sometimes, like, Tribe Infecting Virus and stuff like that. But the reason why they run the Crane is mostly because it's, like, a light... it's a level 4, so it can be normal summoned, and it's just like a monster to hit to then go for Monster Gate stuff. So calling 4 when they already have all these trio tokens on the board kind of defeats at least one of those purposes. Oh, and we see some weird stuff in the grave. We see different Dimension Gate, which you know what, I guess is a cute way to like get additional value from like your Dimension Fusions, which this deck probably plays. So it could be interesting to see that later on. Kind of a cool tech choice for this deck. Still flipping though, and they do find a Sacred Crane. It's just going to fill up the graveyard, though, for Frost Pro to go with this Premature Burial. Abdel Karim does have a couple back row here, so not super unlikely that they'll be able to pop this. Crane is a decent target, though. That will resolve. Crane will get revived from the graveyard. Because it was special summoned, its effect will trigger, and Frost Pro will draw a card, so basically a free summon there. It's pretty nice. Then we're going to go normal summon Toon Cannon Soldier, which is also just naturally very good against burn, because now you can pop all of these tokens without having them be destroyed, right? So you just tribute the 3, hit the opponent for 1,500, and you can attack him for another 16. That's actually a good amount of damage. I feel like against burn, Reasoning Gate probably doesn't always need to go for the OTK. They just kind of need to put a clock on the opponent and kill them before they kill you. Right, so you can actually play as more like a traditional sort of aggro deck, as Reasoning Gate against burn is kind of the theory there. And so getting some damage in here, clearing out the trio tokens is pretty nice, I would say. Oh, we're going to chain just Desserts, though. Chaining to the Thunder, or to the Cannon Soldier activation, though, will mean that they should only take 2,000, because if we're chaining, then it's tributed for cost. And so it should be gone. They're going to take the full 2,500, though. Chain the Secret Barrel as well. I mean, I guess you could take Chain to mean in response to the summon of Toon Cannon Soldier, but they also have Prio, right? So Frost Pro should only be taking 500 here. Um, or you should be taking 500 less, and then 200 less from the secret barrel. They do just take, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, so Prospero, okay. Yeah, so lost the 2000. Yeah, so lost more damage than they should have. Uphill Kareem will take the 1500 from this Toon Cannon Soldier activation. Yeah, it's important to note that there was actually no window for Abtel Kareem to actually activate this Just Dessert or the Secret Barrel before the token could be attributed. So something to keep in mind, right, when you're playing against these decks. Frostboro has another reasoning to go for here, and now the board is completely empty. And now at this point, you could just go for a nice little OTK, depending on what you have. Your opponent's only at 6,500, so you don't need to go for like a full 8,000 OTK. Could be pretty nice. Abtel Kareem, we'll see what they call. I feel like you probably call 8 at this point, because DMOC would be pretty good, I think. Yeah, gonna call 8, but we will flip into... Let's see. Milling the whole thing? Yeah, we find Jinzo. So, like I was saying, really, really good card against Burn. I don't think, at least pre-side, they probably don't play a lot of spot removal to deal with the Jinzo. And this just kind of shuts off their entire deck without any of the normal outs to trap hate that Burn normally plays in the main. So that's a really good flip there. And Frostbro is just in an amazing position. Not only do they have 4,000 damage on the board right now, they also are turning off all of the traps, which is really, really powerful. Yeah, so hidden for 4K. Abtel Kareem will drop down to 2,500. Frost Pro will set a back row pass. Pass with lethal on board here, and we'll see if Abtel Kareem can do anything. They need, like, level limit area B, I guess is pretty good. Gravity Bind obviously doesn't do anything because of the Jinzo, so if they do have a lock piece, it needs to be like Swords of Revealing Light or level limit. Gonna draw for turn. Gyakugiri Panda is interesting. It's a 2,300 attack, so you could go ahead and like kill the Sacred Crane or something. We're gonna kill the Toon Cannon Soldier. That makes sense. That does represent a good amount of damage here for Frost Pro. They will take a little bit of damage. Panda will get powered back down to 1,800, so Jinzo can still beat over it. Make room for this Crane. You're not really too worried about whatever this back row could be. Maybe it's like a Scapegoat. That's not the end of the world, though. And I feel like burn decks have kind of moved away, at least specifically Panda burn decks have moved away from playing Scapegoat if it was ever actually super common. Frostpro, though, in a good spot. We're just going to go right to battle phase. Jinzo will attack the Panda, and then Crane will get in for 16. Drop Bobtail Kareem down to 300, once again passing with lethal on board. And Optel just has to find it out for this Jinzo, otherwise it's probably just GG. And that was why I kind of leaned towards... I guess I said you probably call 8 there because you're worried about the OTK. And I guess because there's not 100% guarantee that Frost Pro is playing Jinzo. But I feel like as Burn, you have to be really, really worried about Jinzo hitting the board. So maybe, honestly, you call 6 both times. Because calling 4, like I said, doesn't really do anything when they already have the trio tokens on board. Because it's not like you're trying to starve them of monsters. And then Jinzo is the big threat. So... yeah, we'll see though. Yeah, okay, and Uphill Kareem's just going to draw pass, or draw concede there. I guess maybe if you're running main deck Exiled Force, like a lot of burn decks do, you had an out to Jinzo there. But that card just putting in a ton of work here against burn. Frost Pro just doing standard Reasoning Gate stuff, cheating out a Jinzo, and shutting off all of the Panda Burn strategies deck for the most part. And that is game 1 to Reasoning Gate. Game 2, Abdel Kareem will be able to go first. Once again. Now, ideally, they have some side deck technology to maybe deal with this Jinzo more. You could have stuff like Book of Moon, perhaps, would be good. See what the plan is, though. We're just going to lead out with a T-set pass, so no Trinity here, but definitely a decent start. Frostbro has an opportunity here to go for some stuff. You know, Burn doesn't play a lot of interaction, so honestly, like, unless it's like a Gravity Bind, OTKs are pretty live against Burn at pretty much any stage, even if they do have back row, right? Frostbro is going to lead out with a Pot of Greed, which is pretty nice. Draw a couple cards. Going to set a back row pass, so not going for any sort of combo there, just going up a card, and they will pass turn and let Uptel do some stuff. We're going to get end phase MST on this back row, which if it is like a Scapegoat, this is pretty massive, because that could be Frostpro's way to get some stuff going here. This is going to be a Mirror Force, okay. That's pretty interesting. Frostpro keeping in a little bit of interaction, try and kind of dissuade some of the more aggro side strategies that Panda Burn decks can incorporate. But that will just hit the grave thanks to that MST. And then we're going to get Flip Summon Deskawala. Okay, so this is a very high value Deskawala. It's going to burn the opponent for 2,400. That's pretty massive, and then hit in for another 11. So Burn off to a really, really good start in this game, getting the opponent way down. It has a Sangan here for follow-up, adding an extra 1k to the pile. And yeah, now Frostpro is on a pretty massive clock. They're already super low. Burn is pretty adept at getting the opponent down beneath that. They haven't done it yet, but they're pretty adept at getting the opponent down beneath the 2k threshold such that Dimension Fusion is live as well. So definitely kind of rushing to hit that kind of checkpoint, if you want to call it that, in order to shut off one of the strongest cards in the Reasoning Gate deck. So well on their way to doing that. Pretty solid board here. Tons of value off that Deskawala, and they're going to have a back row here to back it up as well. Frostpro facing a 2-turn clock. Not the best against Burn. So there, yeah, and you can see, I mean, I don't know exactly what's in Frostpro's hand, but the pressure here from Abdel Karim could potentially be forcing Frostpro to go for a combo turn before they're fully set up, which is the importance of like putting clocks against these combo decks, right? Now, Abdel Karim, I could see very much calling 4 here to prevent your opponent from summoning monster. I wouldn't hate that. Gonna call 6 though, just super duper worried about Jinzo. I think that's also fair. Because yeah, especially depending like post side, if you just have nothing to deal with Jinzo, that would be pretty bad. They're gonna flip into Air Knight Parshath. Okay, so that's not a bad hit. It's a pretty big monster, can get them a little bit of advantage. You see some interesting stuff here in Grave for Frostpro. So really siding into actually interaction against Burn, which is pretty funny. So Sakuretsu, we got Battle Traps, we've got Mirror Force Torrential, we've got Threatening Roar. So, you know, I don't watch a lot of Panda Burn versus Reasoning Gate stuff. I wonder if this is kind of the general side strategy of Reasoning Gate against Burn. If it would make sense if you kind of identify as the control role in the matchup, which isn't super obvious to me, because I feel like Burn actually probably has the inevitability, right? Because they can just stall you out and burn you to death. So I'm not entirely sold on going into more of a defensive configuration against Panda Burn as Reasoning Gate, but maybe when you're going second, it makes more sense. You can just kind of play combo for value to answer their board and stuff. I guess it's fine. We'll see how it works out, though. Because Frostpro did kind of brick on their first opening to go for a big combo, which then led to them taking, you know, over half their life points in damage. So I wonder if these extra defensive cards are kind of gumming up the works a little bit and making it a little bit harder for them to consistently combo off. They do hit an Air Knight here, though, which is pretty nice. We're going to instantly on resolution go for a Ring of Destruction, though. So that'll burn both players for 19. Frostpro will get set down really, really low. And then, once again, importantly for the player facing against Reasoning Gate, you prevent them from getting a monster on board to turn on stuff like Monster Gate, which is very, very important. And yeah, looking really good here for Abdel Karim with a pretty fast start here. We do have Tribe Infecting Virus out of the side for Frostpro, which I guess makes a lot of sense when you have to deal with the Ojama tokens just to clear out your side of the board, give you more monster zones to go for your combo. You can use it to clear out the opponent's board. Popping Sangan would be a little bit annoying, though, because there's lots of good stuff in the burn deck to grab with that. Something like a Lily would be pretty back-breaking. We're just going to get Tribe. We're going to discard Demako, so maybe that's the idea, is we just want to get some good stuff engraved. This does turn on Chaos, if that's your play. You could go like Tribe, Call Beast, discard Demok, summon Sork, banish Sangan. That would be a decent play to at least answer Abtel's board. However, getting Demok into the banish zone is actually kind of it's counterproductive at this point because you're so low on life points that you can't defusion it back. So could be kind of a suboptimal usage of it, right? If you're forced to just use it as a Dark Engrave for Chaos. But you can see, like I was saying, the importance of getting the player getting the Reasoning Gate player down below 2,000 so they can't go for those crazy combo turns. Usually, supported by DMOC and Dimension Fusion. And now Frost Pro's options for like a big pop-off turn are very limited. Gonna call Beast, though, off of this Tribe effect. And then we're gonna go Monster Gate anyway, so utilizing the normal summon just to get a monster on board. Back row is clear, notably, right? And you could flip into something good like a Jinzo. Let's see. We spin our way into a Sacred Crane. Okay, probably not exactly what Frost Pro wanted to hit, but their graveyard is nice and filled up for them now, excuse me. They get to see another card. They have a Reasoning here as well. I think you just call 6 all day if you're Kareem. Let's see. Find another Sacred Crane. Okay, so we're going for Crane beatdown for the time being. And then we're just going to go to battle phase. Crane will kill the Sangan. Second Crane will get in for 16. So you hit him for 22. Put him down to 3,900. But you are just dead to Sangan, Grab, Injection, Fairy Lily, unless you have any back row. And a lot of your good defensive traps are gone. No Mirror Force, no Torrential, no Threatening Roar. 2 Saku's gone. Another Threatening Roar gone. And Compulse is gone here as well. So Frost Pro better hope that they have some battle traps or something in hand to answer this probably impending Lily. Otherwise, it's just going to be GG here. Okay, Optel going for the Desk Koala. I wonder, they could have Lily in hand already, or maybe they just don't run it, which would be an interesting choice. I guess they're going for a little bit more of a stall, more direct damage version of Panda Burn. They're still playing the Pandas, but we haven't seen any Giant Rats. We clearly haven't seen Injection Fairy Lily. So I wonder if they're going more for like a Desk Koala, slightly more stall build, rather than the more aggro version of Panda Burn that you kind of more commonly see. Both are totally playable, totally fine though. And Koala does represent lethal at the moment, right? If Frost Pro is unable to get anything out of their hand. So they're going to have to probably set some stuff. Yeah, 1 back row will be enough. Optel draws for turn. Just going to go for Gyakugiri Panda. It's at 1,800, so it can deal 200 after killing one of these cranes, which isn't terrible. We have level limit area B, though, sending them to defense. And now, with Gyakugiri Panda at 1,800, that is 1,400 points of damage, with the Panda piercing over a defense position crane, which would put Frost Pro all the way down to 200 life points, which is a very strong play here. And then Panda would represent lethal next turn, beating over the second crane if Frost Pro doesn't have an answer. So pretty nice little combo there to get some more damage through. You don't often see that utilization of level limit area B, but that is one of the reasons why Panda synergizes so well with the typical like stall burn stuff, because it is a level 3. And yeah, Crane is just very much not a good wall when it's in defense position, so pretty nice work there. Frost Pro will drop to 200. Any bird card will kill here, so looking pretty over here for Frost Pro. But yeah, played out. Yep. Draw phase, just desserts, burn the opponent for 500. That's all you need. But we're going to chain Mystic Walk. Ooh, so Optel maybe getting a little bit too excited there. Chain just desserts when there was only 1 monster on board, so it's not lethal if there was chain Mystic Walk. Okay, so Frost Pro is going to be able to gain 1,600 and then lose nothing, right? Because they'll have no monsters on board. That's pretty nice. So that's just going to be plus 1,600. It'll take you 2 cards to do it, but you do trade it for a single card from your opponent. Puts you out of lethal range for this Panda. And so staying alive here is pretty nice. However, you do have to out this level limit area B if you actually want to get any damage in. And that might be too much for a linear combo deck like Reasoning Gate to ask for this turn. But cool to see the walkthrough come through to keep them alive at least. Okay, Lightning Vortex is not too bad. We're going to discard. So they might have had the Jinzo in hand the whole time. They just wanted to keep their monsters on board to go for that Tribute Summon play. Unfortunately for them, they had to tribute their Sacred Crane to the Mystic Walk to stay alive. So Jinzo's not going to be able to be normal summon this turn, at least. Also, not super great into level limit area B, of course, as well. Probably the best card in the deck against Jinzo, besides just like an Exiled Force. But you will at least be able to clear out the Panda. And just going to pass, though. So leaning on a back row here. No Premature Burial or Call of the Haunted or anything just yet. Could be with set, potentially. But you're only at 1,800 life points against Burn, so looking still pretty good for Abdel Karim here, despite not being able to go for game right then. But they have their strongest stall piece on board, and it's just a matter of time before they draw enough burn cards to kill the opponent. Deskawala, oh yeah, we knew that was in hand as well, and that's just a 2-turn clock on its own. Doesn't even need to flip to get some damage in. Just gonna go normal summon it, level 3, so it gets under the level limit, and hit in for 11. Frostpro, do you have anything here? No, gonna take it, drop all the way down to 700, so now Premature Burial is offline as well. So another, like, sort of life point checkpoint reached, and removing even more options from Frostpro. And yeah, every turn it just looks better and better for the Panda Burn player here. Gonna set another back row. Just Desserts is not lethal. Secret Barrel is not lethal. Not yet, but could be something scary, of course. Frostpro draws, sets to pass. Okay. Do you have anything to block the Dust Koala for lethal? Let's see. Just go straight to battle phase, get in. And yeah, that is game 2 to Panda Burn, getting off to a very, very fast start with Flip Summon Dust Koala for 6, plus Sangan to start beating in, then Ring on the Air Knight summoned off of a Reasoning to put Frostpro underneath the Dimension Fusion life point range. And then from there, it was just a matter of time before Obtel was able to beat them down. So really nice play there from Panda Burn there. In game 2, we will go to game 3. Reasoning Gate will be able to go first. I guess it just kind of, you live or die by the Jinzo in this matchup. Seems to be the case. We saw Frostpro definitely sided in some Royal Decrees as well. But like I was saying, that's not as good against Burn as Jinzo because it's pretty easily answered by Giant Trunade. Which is why it's kind of fallen out of favor against Burn strategies. But definitely, not terrible against Burn, right? You still probably bring it in as Reasoning Gate. But we did see, like I was saying, Frostpro seemed to side into a lot of interaction against the Burn player. And I'm not sure if that's the correct thing to be doing. Definitely let me know in the comments, either if you're a Burn player or a Reasoning Gate player, kind of how you approach this matchup, because it's not one that you see every day. But I'm really interested to see in kind of like, what are the things that matter in the matchup? What are like typical side deck plans, that sort of thing? Because, I would love to learn more about how these sorts of games play out. Frostpro is going to lead out with a Reasoning here, so I guess the idea is you want to just try and summon a Jinzo ASAP, which is pretty nice. Of course, it is turn 1, so they won't be able to attack with anything here, but if you can get a nice continuous effect on the board, then it could be worth it to just go for a little mini combo here on your first turn. Optel gonna name 4, so looking to deny them for monsters, risking a Jinzo hitting the board. They do hit Toon Cannon Soldier, okay, so that will just hit the grave. Premature Burial and Call of the Haunted hit the grave here as well, so no resurrection effects available for Frostpro. If they want to get anything out of the grave from now on, it'll have to be via monster reincarnation. So that's a little bit unfortunate for Frostpro. Looks like they kept in some of their interaction here as well, keeping in those compulses. Even going first here, I kind of gave them a pass last game because they were going second, so playing some of the more controlling cards might make a little bit more sense. But now going first, I feel like you probably want to optimize for speed, right? And then potential, like, you probably keep in your back row removal, right, to deal with the battle floodgates. But besides that, I feel like this is all about just being able to combo off ASAP, is my thought. I could very well be wrong, but that's my thought. And yeah, that's just going to fizzle Frostpro's turn entirely, so Obtel making the right call there. And yeah, just Burn's going to be able to take the turn here with an empty board. They laid out with a Graceful Charity, so going to get some nice card filtration here as well. Discarding an MST and a Sangan. Okay, not too bad. Sangan is a nice clock to put on against this player. Right into an empty board, but maybe you have an even stronger play here. Maybe you want to set Deskawala or something. Oh, we're going to go normal summon Mataza the Zapper. Wow. So this is 2,600 damage into an empty board, which is really nice for Burn, right? The rate, we kind of talk about, you want your Burn cards to do around 2,000 damage per activation. That's like a good rate. Generally, at least like 1,500 is when you would play them, unless like you need less for lethal, of course. So getting 2,600 out of a single normal summon here with Mataza the Zapper is pretty massive. And it's going to put Ebtel very far ahead in this damage race that is likely to ensue. Level Limit Area B coming out here too as well. Gonna set a back row. Sure. Get in for 26. Have your best stall piece available to you. And this is looking really, really good for our burn player in this matchup. Frost Pro gonna go for Giant Trunade. Okay, so that is one way to bounce these level limits, these battle floodgates. Ojama Trio will be chained though, which will and this is one of those things I was talking about. It will clog up Frost Pro's board, but it does give them a monster to potentially go for Monster Gate plays if they didn't already have one. So kind of a high risk, high reward play here going for this trio chain. We'll see if it works out, right? If Frost Pro just has like a bunch of Monster Gates in hand, it's pretty bad. But if they have something else going on and they end up being starved for monster spaces, then it could be pretty nice. Tokens will hit the board. Level Limit Area B should go back to hand, yep. As it does. Frost Pro does have a reasoning here. Obtel, do you want to call 4 now that you've already hit one and thin the deck a bit? Probably, like I said, probably not, because I still have monsters on board. So you probably call 6 here, still. Gonna call 8, though. Worried about the DMOC. Ooh, and we hit a Magical Marionette, which is a level 5. Not a number that you always see covered in Reasoning Gate, but this is a pretty cool card. I am personally a big Magical Marionette fan. I just have a lot of nostalgia for it. But it is a pretty sweet card. And, you know, it combos pretty well. I guess it works pretty well if you're going for this more controlling, you know, value version of Reasoning Gate, where you're trying to, you know, outgrind your opponent. It can be really good because you do have a lot of spell cards to play to kind of power out those tokens. Let's see if we get to see the Marionette effect actually activated. That'd be pretty neat. But that will hit the board. And we've got Monster Gate here. You contribute a token. It's not destroyed, so you don't take the damage. Puts 1 counter. Reminder that every 2 counters allows it to pop a monster, but every single counter also increases its attack by 200. So this could become a pretty big boy, depending on what Frost Pro has going on in their hand. We're going to Monster Gate into... Let's see. Going through the whole deck. Woo! Really loading up that bad boy. We hit a Sacred Crane. Okay, and now the graveyard is very much loaded up, but notably no lights in grave. So Chaos is not live just yet, which might be a little bit frustrating for Frost Pro. But hitting a Crane is pretty good here. You get to draw another card, get some more monsters on the board. Pretty nice. We're going to attribute something for Jinzo. Okay, so achieved the game-winning play pretty much. I think we haven't even seen Exiled Force out of Abdel Karim, so no guarantee that they're even playing it. We haven't seen a single out to Jinzo at all in their deck at any point. So Jinzo hitting the board here is going to be really, really advantageous for Frost Pro. You do know that there's Level Limit Area B in Obtel's hand, so you kind of want to deal some damage now before that comes down, unless you have another out to it, maybe. But just Jinzo hitting the board at all is quite nice, of course. Ooh, and Crane hitting the grave off that Tribute Summon is enough to turn on Chaos here, so we could just be going for a little bit of OTK action here. BLS is going to hit the board. Is this just game? You hit in for 17, 47, 49, 69. Yeah, this is just game. Yeah, there you have it. Really nice play there by Frost Pro, going for the full OTK combo here. On their second turn, they got fizzled out pretty early. Then Abdel Karim, yeah, they went for that Ojama train and that Ojama Trio chain on the Giant Trunade, and then ended up giving Frost Pro a monster that then they could then Monster Gate into something while keeping this Marionette on board with a bunch of potential damage coming through there. And so potentially, you know, depending on what Frost Pro also had and what they hit off of these gates and stuff, it might not have been enough to OTK, but the fact remains that one of the Ojama tokens was used in the OTK combo here from Frost Pro. So not sure if really prioritizing resolving this against Reasoning Gate is that strong of a strategy. And yeah, Frost Pro able, you know, they had the Giant Trunade to bounce the level limit so they could go for this OTK play and just close it out pretty nicely. Kind of similar to game 1, they were able to go for a nice big combo. Well, actually, it was actually kind of a mini combo that just ended up in a Jinzo, which especially pre-sided against Burn is kind of just GG as soon as it hits. And just the floodgate effect drove him to victory there in game 1. Game 2, Obtel was able to win here on this Panda Burn strategy. Frostboro was not able to find a Jinzo. It got stuck in their hand, never able to tribute summon it for it, didn't have the tempo available to them. And Obtel got off to a blazing start, dealt a bunch of damage very quickly, limiting Frostboro's options in terms of like premature burials and dimension fusions, which is what you need to do against these decks. And they just took it down with a little bit of level 3 monster beatdown, right? But yeah, Frostboro able to close it out here in this game 3 with the turn 2 OTK. So pretty nice stuff. Cool matchup that I don't think we've seen before on this channel. So definitely know what you think in the comments. If you've ever played this matchup on either side, let me know kind of your overall thoughts on how this generally plays out, because it seems like a pretty cool one. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this one. I will catch you all next time.